Hey, people. In that last movie, the Greek words were coming to me so well. I thought it'd be a good place to decode the numbers in there, and this is where I ended up from this old Tessa Arcounta. And I was trying to blend all these words together a little better. And I've showed you in Latin, they said this is life, and usually vive, is life, and that's the difference. Vive is where survive comes from, just surviving. There's a difference between vive and ode of joy. Oh, ode of joy, his role, the panon. To man it is he, it is he, it is he, a rack on tess. I was missing the A-E here as a E-S. Is a rack on Tess's helt on. And his gin is blending over here. And, this is they sedge, the sedge, the writers. They sedge, and the kings and the writers had the sedge in their name. And helt on, they sedge, and the knowest of. The sedge knowest of men on. To man the pan on. And this N becoming a V before this E. And the pan of hose. The pan of hose foraging on to his. And foraging on to ism. The belief arose. The ism arose. This pay Nikes. Pay Victor. To the comer, to the cat on tauntry, the tauntry on, to taunt you with, met her one on. And so you can't spell one with a O-N-E because the N becomes the bet, the B or the V, so you have to use the H to write one. To the comer, to the cat on, tauntry on, met her one on. And you don't see that here, you see it in the Septuagint with the other markings, how to read that. But the reason I'm all over the place when I read, I don't just read one, is because I run into these words that I try to make sense of. A word that comes up 13 times, and they give it many meanings. And so while I'm searching for these words, this is how I end up the places that I come. And this was the first time it come up in Homer has writ the Aph, the sack who. But it was ending up in Zechariah a bunch, and they had no idea. Said likewise is the Eph, going said. And it was stacked up here in Zechariah 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's usually because I was looking for another word that when I found it in the line, I wanted to put it in better context, and I ended up reading the chapter. But here, it was the basket. And this is when I figured out what that Aph was. And whammer, and cry, whammer, all them lacked of her by of they mammal. The mammal cut at the Aph, the sack, cut the sack. And so this isn't the mule, this is the mammal. It's only the mule when you're reading it with the marks, and where this changes to the mammal, and cried. And then read this backwards. The lack all, and mammal, M-E-M-L, the mammal, and the cry, lack all mammal. And so it changes the meaning of it with reading it straight through in the marks. That's why this is all written like this. But that's why, Emule is the name, meaning the one doing the hard labor, and it's the mule, the one that's carrying. And if you look at their interpretations, it's real easy to see they're hiding something in there. And he said to me, what you do see? So I answered, I see a scroll flying, its length 20 cubits, and its width 10 cubits. And a scroll flying, its length is of farce. There ain't no truth to that, it's a farce. And honors mogul of farce. And yammer ollie meat, M-E-A-T-E-R A-E-E-S. And yammer ollie meter is, that's a common name in the area. Ollie, highly, ollie, and yammer, ollie, meter. A meter is not a cubit, a meter. And whammer and cry, honor is mogul, a farce. And assure him, and a marriage be, a marriage be. And so it's twisting, it's teasing the word. Is a meow, it's a cat. Meow, Egyptian for cat. The meow rich, the cat rich be. And it's with, is and rich in. And a farce assure 'em, and a meow rich be, and a marriage be. Let you think you might be getting a little cat. And a serve 'em. I was looking into that because I was curious about this word ark or arca here. ARKE. They say it means long. And you see it come up the most times, 47 here. And it's just spelled ARK. And the first time it comes up is here in Genesis in the story of Noah's Ark, where they'll give a whole bunch of other words. The tab, the tablet, anything like that they'll say is the ark. And they'll say this is the length of the ark. And so the length of the ark is the ark of the ark. You shall make it 300 cubits shall be the ark, the ark. And so this is where your word America comes from, the Americ, and it be, Americ it be. And so that's where the boat was going. And you'll see the same thing when it says to Abraham, and you will go to a land that I will show you, is the Erica. So some people will see America as the place that I will show you, Erica, the place God showed you. And some people read it as Erica, meaning to rule, the rule forever, the eternal ruler. So when you say American, it means I am Erican. I am the eternal ruler. If you don't believe it, I will show you. And so I'm back over here to where I was reading The Man with the Measure. And I'll look at this in the Hebrew just a little bit before I go back and finish that movie in the Greek. But I was saying here the word for the eyes really didn't mean eyes in the Greek. And it doesn't here in the Hebrew either. This is oying, and it's a calling, and oying is a referee, an old judge, a portable judge, whoever was called on to view it, to hear the case. And oying was a calling, and was a WASA, was oying, was a calling aware of. And I raised my eyes and looked. No, there was a calling aware of. And then E-N-E becomes the N becomes the bet. E-V-E, evasive. And was of calling aware of evasive do. Evasive do. He being sneaky about it. A man in his hand. Evasive do evil made, and evasive do evil made, doing something sneaky in his hand that he ought not be doing. And whammer have, A-V-E, have a tile, the second E becoming an I, have a tileless. And the cry have a tileless. A tileless is somebody who is entitled, royal, one that thinks he deserves it. And whammer have a tileless. And that's something your dad said to your sister. She come down the steps and not wearing enough clothes and wanting $20 in the car, and he would call her little Miss Have and Tileless. Where are you going? Little Miss Have a Tileless. And yammer all he limit tire us, and all he and highly limit attire us, what we're wearing, and lamb of wrought, and wearing lamb skins, and lamb of wrought, and wrought shaped from, and lamb of wrought, and yammer all he limit attire us, the lamb of rot. And come the rich, in who, H-U, in who commerce, the length, to come across it, commerce, to America and commerce. And said, all he limit at the high limit attire us, the lamb of rot, the sheep of shaped, the shepherds come rich in who commerce, in commerce of people, slavery. Weave, the N becoming the B, the bet, and WEBE, and weave in the double E, this becoming a I, right as a I or the, and weave a lactover, is did without, the angel who talked, and weave lactover by its of malice, accurates, accurates all, a crat to, to govern, the crat to, and yammer alerts of her all inner heels, and all from the word, and yammer alerts of her all inner heels, and when she hollers, everybody comes to the heels, and lammer and says, fears what is in, the second T reading is an I, what is in, and fears what it is. And this B reading over here with this virus, and the word fears what is virus, is a virus of lamerin, of the virus in the word in. Hadam of them have to see. Hadam of them have to see, a have to see, a dynasty, making fun of the words, but in them have to see is the haves. You have the haves and the have-nots. Well, the haves, they hadam of them have to see. They're showing it, the gold on her neck. And any asile, A-E reading as an E-S, asile. And so that's where in the Greek, the basilica, it means in asile, in the kingdom. And have any asile living with you. Asire, is to father. And asile is to let them live in your castle. Asile. And any asylum, you comet. You comet as survival. As survival covet is I've to see. So the man with the measure, he was oying. An oyer, that's where your word lawyer come from, to go hear the case. The oyer is one hearing a case, the hearing of a document read in court. And so oying, is the one in the act of doing it. And was a oying whereof evasive of edu, the evil maid, was hearing over a case of somebody doing some evasive evil shit. And cry of a talus, of the one that felt entitled. And so that would be the one, that took. And yammer, ollie, the high limit, the most I can get, the high limit. Ollie limit attires in clothing of the lamb of rot. The sheep have created. Got us wearing lamb skins here. And come a rich in who of commerce. Got rich in trafficking. And weave lactover by its of malice. Lacked, and weave lacked, a lactover. And so that's usually the plants, where they're draining the lac. A lac is the bug that drains the sap from the tree. It's probably the trees crying. And weave lactover by its of malice, a cure it's all, a crack to govern. And yammer alerts, and the word alerts to her, all in her heels, and calls the word in all at her heels, and says in the word, fears what? Unwalled towns, the people that over there fearing it. We need a wall. And fears what is but the virus of Lammering, the virus in the word. Hey, we got to keep the Mexicans out. They're destroying our language. And fears what virus the Lammer and Adam of 'em have to see. And any asylum you come it as survival. That's where your word Bible comes from. It's the book of survival. And any asylum you come it as survival covet is I've to see. And all the animals of the forest, in any asylum, anything living up in 'em, you've come it as survival covet, trying to survive, and you have come it. The kingdom come, a survival covet is I've to see. So I'll scan over these first 5 lines in the next movie, where I started reading this last movie, and finish reading this. But it seemed like it's 2 totally different stories. I'm gonna cut this off here. Good day.